This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. The Prime Minister says that the next 3 weeks will be tough for the country. He urged the public to use fuel and LP gas sparingly. The ministers agreed to serve without taking their salaries. A loan from India to purchase urea. Ranjan given 2 years suspended sentence. And in foreign news, EU blames Russia for food crisis prompting walkout. News in detail. The Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that a new path should be sought, avoiding the traditional system in order to get rid of the crisis faced by the country. He made these remarks delivering a special statement in Parliament today. He said a collective effort should be taken to build the country without party politics. He also pointed out there is a responsibility and a duty for all in this regard, and there should be political stability in the country. The challenges could be achieved only by dedication and not by slogans. $90 million is needed to import fuel and gas for the next 6 months. The next 3 weeks will be tough for Sri Lanka, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said today, urging the general public to use fuel and liquefied petroleum gas sparingly. Delivering a special statement in Parliament this morning, the Premier stressed the need to limit travel for the time being and to refrain from hoarding the products. The government is in the process of rectifying the ongoing shortages of fuel and LP gas, he said further. The Cabinet of Ministers have agreed to perform their duties without receiving ministerial salaries for 1 year, as proposed by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. A proposal submitted by the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe regarding the work of the Cabinet Ministers without receiving the salaries for a period of 1 year has received the Cabinet approval. Speaking during the weekly Cabinet media briefing in Colombo today, Cabinet spokesman Minister Bandula Gunawardena said the ministers had also decided to forego their ministerial salaries, considering the prevailing economic problems in the country. The Cabinet of Ministers has given its approval to sign an agreement with Export-Import Bank of India for a loan of $55 million to purchase urea fertilizer for the upcoming Maha season. The proposal was tabled by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilisation and National Policies. The Government of India has agreed to provide a $55 million loan through the Export-Import Bank of India for the procurement of urea for the 2022-2023 Maha season, the Cabinet spokesman said. The Supreme Court today sentenced former MP Ranjan Ramanayaka to 2 years rigorous imprisonment, suspended for 5 years after he pleaded guilty to the second contempt of court charge against him. The order was delivered by a 3-judge bench comprising Justices Buwanaka Aluwihare, LTB Dehideniya and Gamini Amarasekara. Ranjan Ramanayaka had initially pleaded not guilty to these charges in the Supreme Court. However, when the case was taken up in March, the former Deputy Minister pleaded guilty to the charges. Accordingly, the lawyers representing him had requested the court to impose a lenient sentence on him. Announcing the verdict today, the 3-judge bench headed by Justice Buwanaka Aluwihare sentenced Ramanayaka to 2 years rigorous imprisonment, suspended for 5 years. Accordingly, if convicted of another offence within the 5 years from today, this 2-year imprisonment will be effective, the 3-judge bench explained to Ranjan Ramanayaka in open court. The judge further explained to Ramanayaka that if he is not found guilty of any other offence within a period of 5 years from today, he will not be punished under the Criminal Procedure Code. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi60 from Sri Lanka Insurance.
Specialist doctor of Community Health of National Dengue Eradication Unit, Anoja Veerasinghe, says that there is a high increase of reporting dengue patients. 25,643 dengue patients have been recorded up to now this year. 1,437 such cases have been reported only for this month. She also stated that speedy measures should be taken to prevent from the risk of dengue menace. School premises, construction sites, office premises and religious places have been identified as dengue breeding places. Therefore, she requested the public to keep their surrounding areas clean. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says that a special program will be implemented for the distribution of fuel. Fuel will be issued on the priority basis in the future. Measures have been taken to distribute fuel to the SLTB and private buses and for school vans through the depots from tomorrow. Priority will also be given for the fisheries and agricultural sector. And that ends local news for now.
The medical insurance plan that begins at the age of 60. Medi 60 from Sri Lanka Insurance. A health insurance plan to honor our most valued elders by the protectors of the nation. We now give our treasured senior citizens access to the very best medical insurance, specially tailored for anyone over 60. What's more, you don't need medical screening to access this policy. And Medi 60 covers a wide range of illnesses. Only from Sri Lanka Insurance. Call 0112 357 357.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Secretary to the Minister of Public Administration, MPK Mayaduna, said that 160 million rupees can be saved by limiting the documental activities at the state service sector. 10 rupees is being spent for a normal letter and 160,000 such documents will be suspended by next week. He also stated that wastage should be minimized to overcome the existing economic crisis. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And in Watchlight, the Department of Immigration and Immigration requested the people to prevent from arriving at the department to obtain visa applications, except those who wish to migrate for foreign jobs soon. It has also been reported that a large number of people arrived at the department for one-day service of issuing visa applications. Therefore, there's a huge congestion at the department. And that was Watchlight. Moving on to world news, in the headlines, EU blames Russia for food crisis prompting walkout. Ukrainians fight to regain stronghold. Australian agricultural exports projected to hit record high. World news in detail. Russia's UN ambassador has stormed out of a UN Security Council meeting after the European Council president blamed Russia's invasion of Ukraine for causing a global food crisis. Charles Michel said Russia was using food supplies as a stealth missile against the developing world, forcing people into poverty. The Russian envoy Vasily Nebenzia accused Mr. Michel for spreading lies. The war has left food stuck at Ukrainian ports. Ukraine is a large exporter of cooking oil as well as cereals such as maize and wheat. Russia also exports vast amounts of grains as well as fertilizer. Ukrainian forces had lost ground day after day in their last stronghold in the eastern region of Luhansk. They mounted a counter-attack against Russian troops. By Monday, the two sides were locked in a battle for control. The forces have converged on what's become one of the biggest ground battles of the war. The Ukrainians had reported losing up to 80% of the city, but they said they pushed back the Russians and cleared half the city. Their president visited towns near the front line to rally his troops. Volodymyr Zelensky said they have every chance of fighting back. The value of Australian agricultural exports is expected to hit a record high in the next financial year, according to government projections. The Australian Bureau of Agriculture and Resource Economics and Science recently published the latest Australian crop report, revealing that agricultural export will hit 65 billion Australian dollars in the financial year 2022-2023. Crop exports alone are projected to account for 39.8 billion Australian dollars, 61% of the total, and livestock the remaining 25 billion Australian dollars. Back to the headlines of the world news. EU blames Russia for food crisis prompting walkout. Ukrainian fight to regain stronghold. Australian agricultural exports projected to hit record high. And that ends world news. Moving on with development news. Galle District Secretariat Office says that 136 projects have been implemented in the fisheries sector during the first 4 months of this year. These projects have started under the Livelihood Development Programme. Nearly 40 million rupees have been spent for this project. And that was development news.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
The first T20 match between Sri Lanka and Australia will be played at the R. Premdasa Stadium today. The match begins at 7 p.m. Sri Lanka T20 skipper Datun Shanaka says they are well prepared to take up the Australia challenge and win the T20 series. Aaron Finch is the captain of the Australian team and they engage in a match tour in Sri Lanka after 6 years. The SLBC is ready to bring live broadcast of all matches of the tournament. And that is sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority SLTDA says that in the current challenging environment in Sri Lanka, the tourism industry is expected to earn $800 million this year. The SLTDA says it's confident that between 800,000 and 850,000 foreign tourists will visit Sri Lanka by the end of this year, and all the institutions involved in the tourism industry are also planning to implement a joint program, a short-term plan for the promotion of the tourism industry till the year 2023 has been presented, and it is divided into short-term, medium-term and long-term. And that was business news.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Several new projects will be implemented to encourage small tea holders and cultivators. This program is being initiated by the Small Tea Holders Development Authority. Measures will also be taken to provide financial and additional allowance to the tea recultivators. Accordingly, 7,500 rupees will be provided for them. And that was economic news. Moving on to the weather report. The Met Department says that showers will occur at times in the Western and Sabaragama provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara Galle and Mathura districts. Several spells of showers will occur in the northwestern province. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the Ua province and in the Ampara and Batiklo district during the evening or night. That was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, back to the headlines. The Prime Minister says that the next 3 weeks will be tough for the country, and he urged the public to use fuel and LP gas sparingly. The ministers agreed to serve without taking their salaries. A loan from India to purchase urea. Ranjan given 2-year suspended sentence. In foreign news, EU blames Russia for food crisis prompting walkout. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.